Okay, our recording has started. All right, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and start the webinar so that we don't get behind. It is 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern. So this is Valerie Van Boeven. I'm a registered nurse and the co-owner of LTC Expert Publications. And on the line with us today also is George Novison. Hi, George.
Hi, Valerie.
Hi, and George is the other co-owner of LTC Expert Publications. So if you have any questions at the end of the webinar, we will take questions, and either George or I will be happy to answer them. So today, and we had almost 600 people register for this, so that's pretty awesome. Today we're going to talk about leads for home care agencies, the winning formula revealed. So here is our agenda. It's pretty long, but just so you know, we will be sending out the recording to everybody. So before you market, we're going to talk about that, the hourglass effect, content, your web presence, lead generation, top 2 sales channels for home care, top marketing goals for home care, your key messages, your must-haves, your success factors, and of course we'll take any questions at the end. And oftentimes at the end when there's a lot of question and answer, that's almost the best part of the webinar. So you're going to hear me go through a lot of this information pretty quickly, but again, you can review it anytime you want. So with that, let's get started. And like I said, we will take questions at the end, so you can type your questions into your little questions pane, your little questions dashboard that you have on your screen. You can type those in anytime you want. You don't have to wait, and we'll take them on a first-come, first-served basis. So we do it all by typing. We don't open the lines up because there's probably going to be 250, 300 people actually live viewing this call or viewing this webinar. So we can't open the lines up, but you can certainly type your questions in. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is just some basic sales strategies. And this is one that I saw that Jeffrey Gittimer posted, and I thought it was really, especially for a webinar like this, it really hits home. And after you listen to a strategy or sales technique, try to use it within the hour. Listening followed by doing leads to mastery. So even if you don't do it within the hour, do it within the day, do it within the week, and that will help you get started down the path of all this information that we're about to share with you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, and now if any of you did go to the recent boot camp in Washington, D.C., you heard me do parts of this webinar. I've added a whole lot of stuff to the end of it, so stay with us because there's a lot more to this. But the first thing we want to talk about is the first thing you need to know about your client base. Now this webinar is about generating leads, but in order to understand what kind of leads actually make the most money for you, you have to look at your current client base. So take a look at them. What is your current client base made up of? Find the most profitable clients you have. Maybe they're all dementia clients, or maybe they're all live-in care that make you the most money, or maybe they're just long-term for some other reasons. Maybe they're mobility issues. Maybe they're vent dependent. Whatever that is, look at your most profitable clients. From that group, find the common demographic characteristics. Are they men? Are they women? What age group are they in? What kind of disease processes do they have? If you can paint that picture and understand where you make the most money, then generating leads thereafter will be a lot easier. So take the time to understand what makes them ideal. So again, disease processes, what is it about that person? Is it the fact that they do have private pay money to spend? That's a huge issue with some folks. They have to have the money in order to be able to be your client for a long time and a profitable one. So then what I want you to do is just write a few notes down and develop a little sketch. Use it as a marketing guide. Think about who your clients are and what makes them the best, and use that sort of as your marketing guide. Now in home care, we also have another audience. It's not just the adult children of the aging parents and their senior loved ones that are our clients. It's also our referral sources. So your referral sources, you want to also draw this up and look at the current people that are referring to you. Who's your best referrers? Who are referring clients that make the most sense? Really think about who those people are and what roles they serve within their organization, and go after people just like them all the time to get more leads. This is called a persona, and I am actually going to email that out to you with the replay of this video. So it's not on your zip drive, but it's called a persona, and I'm going to send you a sample of a persona so you have one that you can reference. Now, I only drew up the one that is the consumer version. I did not draw up the one that is your referral source version. That's going to be something you'd have to do. But in order to understand how to market yourself, you need to understand who you're marketing to and who's making you the most money. So the other thing that I want you to do, this is your winning task number 2. The other thing that's really important about generating leads is your unique selling proposition or your differentiator. Now, you've heard people, say unique selling proposition a lot in marketing. What makes you different from the next home care agency and the next home care agency and the next home care agency? There are 570 people registered for this event today. What makes you different from that home care agency down the street? You're all going to say things that are similar. So one of the things that you can do is ask some key questions, and I'm going to give you a personal example. So if you were to go to a client that you really liked in a family, one of the most important things you could ask them, instead of saying, well, we provide quality care or we treat our clients like family, one of the most important things you could say to them is, what made you decide to hire us? And what's one thing we do better than others like us? And what's one thing we could do better? And would you refer to us, or do you refer to us? These are the questions you should ask. So in my example, my mother-in-law needed some home care not too long ago. And she had a medical event that put her in the hospital, that put her in rehab for a little bit, and then she came out of rehab, but we didn't want her to live alone, and we didn't want her to be alone all day while everyone was at work. So I made 2 phone calls to 2 local home care agencies that I felt like I kind of knew and had dealt with their owners in the past, but it had been many years. So I made those 2 phone calls and to get home care set up. I decided to go with, of those 2 that I had called, the reason I decided to hire the one that we did was because I called after hours. I called between 6 and 7 p.m. in the evening, and the first person who called me back was the home care agency owner that we went with. So they called me back that evening, even though it was probably their dinner time and they were probably with their family. They took the time to call me back to reassure me and to get a meeting scheduled with the family. It was a very nice conversation. I got to tell them my whole story. I'm pretty savvy about all this, so I'm not the typical consumer, but I still needed to tell them what was happening with Grandma. So that's why I decided. The other company that I called didn't call me back till the next afternoon. And I'm telling you, no matter what lead source you use, whether it's the way we're going to talk about generating leads today, or if you buy leads, you have to call people back instantly. You will lose them if you wait an entire 24 hours or even till the next morning to call them back. So what made you decide to hire us? In my case, it was the person who responded the quickest and took the time to listen. What's one thing we do better than others like us? Well, I'm not sure about everything that you do better, but I do know that you're quick, compassionate, and easy to schedule, and very flexible. What's one thing we could do better? At the moment, I can't think of anything that you could do better. And would you refer to us, or do you refer to us? Absolutely. I would refer that home care agency to anyone who asked me who I would recommend in that area. And the last question is, if you would refer us, what would you say? And what I would say was that this home care agency was quick, flexible, dependable. Caregivers showed up on time. They replaced a caregiver when we needed one replaced. They drove Grandma to all of her appointments. They were wonderful to her. And that's what I would tell someone else. So if your customer simply tells you that you provide great service, then you need to push it a bit more. So if all I had said to them was, oh, yeah, you do a great job, that's not really enough. you might want to ask them, well, what does good service look like to you? And tell me a story or a time when we provided good service. So there's 2 pieces of homework that you have in order to generate leads right now. Number 1 is make sure you know who your most profitable clients are and what they look like. Draw a picture of that person in words. And you want to know who your best referral sources are. Draw a picture of that person in your own words. And the next thing you want to do is to differentiate yourself is you want to talk to your clients. Instead of saying we provide great service or we treat our clients like family, instead of doing that, ask them some key questions so that they can help you answer. Here is an example of a home care agency that provides non-medical in-home care for seniors, and what they would say is, they would say, and this is just an example of a home care agency out there in the universe. They would tell me, well, we provide the best home care services, just like all of you probably say. But their best customers described it a different way. So now I'm going to let you in on how their customers described their services. This is what one client said. Their client said, we expected great service, but what they really did was provide caregivers who became our mother's dearest friends. They made the last few years of our mother's life good for her and good for us. So instead of using the phrase, we provide the best home care services, or just saying that over and over again, they changed what they were saying about their company. So here's what they changed it to. They said, we help families feel better and live better. Yes, we are a home care agency, but we are also your aging loved one's friend, their comfort, and their safety net. So by embracing this new message, and that's just not just the person who does the marketing, but that's the owner, the staff, the person who answers the phone, everybody embrace that new message. We help families feel better and live better. Yes, we are a home care agency, but we are also your aging loved one's friend, their comfort, and their safety net. So when they all embrace that new message, the home care agency's business went from a second or third tier player to the #1 home care agency in their market. So if you take the time to listen to your clients and ask them what makes you different or what makes you better and why they love you so much, let them tell you. And in their words, you can change the way you present yourself to others. And that should be your unique selling proposition, and that's the power of differentiation. So you want to differentiate yourself from others. So let's talk about the funnel or the hourglass. All of you out there have probably heard of a marketing funnel. So the leads go in the top of the funnel, and then they drip out the bottom, the people who are actually qualified. So you have tons of leads that are calling you, filling out forms on your website, getting a hold of you, being referred to you, but the ones that actually end up doing business start dripping out the bottom slowly but surely. But the question we need to ask ourselves is this: what good is stuffing a funnel full of leads if none of them convert, repeat, or refer? So if you are buying tons of leads from a lead service, or you are, getting some leads from some other direct mail or whatever you're doing, what good is putting all those folks in there if none of them actually become clients? The only way to make sure those leads convert is to make sure that in your organization you are providing a remarkable customer experience. It has to be really good from the very beginning to the very end. So remarkable customer experience is the only way to retain clients, get consistent lead referrals, repeat referrals, and cheerleaders everywhere. When it comes to lead referral generation, the customer experience is it. So whether it's a consumer who's referring a friend to you, or it's a professional who's referring a new client to you, their experience with you, the way that you handle it, how fast you get them in the door, how fast you get problems solved, that is where the customer experience is. And if it's positive, they will refer you over and over again. So you have to take a look at your organization and make sure that from the very beginning, from your website or your person who answers your telephone, all the way through to signing that contract and providing that caregiver every single day, that they are having an excellent experience. And those are the families and the referral sources that will send people to you over and over again. So we're going to look at this from the perspective of an hourglass. So first of all, at the top of the hourglass, people have to know you, like you, and trust you. And that takes a lot of time This is a big time. It takes a lot of time and energy to make this all happen. At the bottom of the hourglass, they need to try you out, try your services. They buy more services. They may repeat, come back many times for different things over their lifetime, and they will refer. So let's talk about the hourglass. So when we're in the know part up here at the top left, in order to get to know you, you have to be making sure that people see you everywhere. That means articles online, maybe an article in a newspaper, referred leads. Have to, people are referring to you. Maybe you're running some ads of some sort, whether they be online ads or offline ads. And in order for people to like you, they need to be able to see a good website, the reception that they receive, meaning the person who answers the phone in your office has to be exceptional. So when someone calls your office, if you have that 25-year-old or 22-year-old who's just sort of, right out of college or doing their summer internship, if they're talking too fast, if they don't have a compassionate voice, if they're not really taking the time to listen to the overwhelmed adult child who's calling in to get some help or solution to their problem, then that might not be the best fit of the person to put on the phone. You might want someone who's got a little more life experience, who can handle a phone that's ringing off the hook and doesn't get flustered easily. You want to have someone answering the phone who can really take the time to listen and not just put someone on hold and never come back or talk too fast. So your website needs to be appealing, the reception that they receive when they actually make that phone call. And of course, I'm going to talk a lot about email newsletters today. Some people think that that's an old way of communicating, or it's one that may be considered spam, but the reality is it's just like buying a car. When you're not in the market for a car, you don't notice car ads on TV, on the radio, in the newspaper, or online. But when you are in the market to buy a car, suddenly every single radio ad becomes important, all the TV ads become important, you see stuff on the internet, you're searching around, and all of the car ads and all that information becomes very relevant to you. So the same thing happens in elder care. If someone is not in a position where they have a family member who needs senior care services, your email newsletter may not hit their radar screen. They might delete it, they might just, pass it by, put it in the trash can, whatever. But when suddenly something happens and they know there's an elder care issue coming their way, or it's already happened, your email newsletter is the most important thing that came to their email that day. So don't ever give up on an email newsletter. It's one of the best ways to increase communication with your local community. We'll talk about that more. So people are getting to know you by your advertising or by the articles and the things you're putting out there online and in print. They're liking you because of your website, your reception, your email newsletter, and now we're going to talk about trust. So trust includes things like your marketing kit. So you know that when you walk into a referral source's office, you're going to leave behind a brochure, maybe several brochures, a business card. But what about leaving behind something more tangible, like maybe a paper that you all wrote about reducing hospital readmission rates, or in your sales presentations, every time you walk out the door, if you're going to talk to somebody, whether it's a consumer or a referral source, you're giving a sales presentation of some sort. And that's okay. Just make sure that in that sales presentation, you're developing trust. And your marketing kit should be full of great things, not just a brochure and a business card, but adding white papers or articles that you've written online, all of those kinds of things for referral sources can also add that element of trust. So then people are going to try you out. They're going to evaluate your services. So let's say a consumer says, yes, I want to sign up for services. From the minute they say yes, they're evaluating you and they're evaluating how things are going. So nurturing activities are super important. When we signed Grandma up for home care, the home care agency didn't just send out a caregiver and that was it. They came out with a caregiver the first day. They had already been to the house. They knew what the house looked like. They had already had a tour. The person who was the intake coordinator gave the caregiver the tour of the house and set her up for the day, and then she came back and checked on us, and she emailed me at night to see how things went. Those are nurturing activities that still need to continue no matter what part of this process your client is in. So they're trying and then they're buying. So now the person has signed up for services, but they actually are satisfied with it. So the way you fulfill that service, is the caregiver on time, is everything working out well in the new customer welcome kit. Now, in our case, all they gave us was a binder. Is there something better that you can do that isn't costly, that you can give that customer as a welcome kit? The delivery, how did things go, and the financial arrangements, those are really important in this case for home care agencies. Does everybody understand when that bill has to be paid, how it's going to be paid? Have you made a promise that you're going to look into their long-term care insurance, and did you follow through with that? Those are all things that really make a difference in the buying phase. And then we're going to talk about repeating. So when you want someone to repeat, in home care, that can be someone who came in and out of your services a few times. Maybe they were recovered or they went to live with an adult child, but then they went back home and they need services again. Always do a post-customer survey. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. Ask for testimonials. Ask for reviews. Cross-sell presentations and products. If you're a home care agency, can you also sell them a lifeline system? So if you get the home care business, but the lifeline may stay there in that house long after you guys leave. So cross-sell presentations and products. Come on, PowerPoint. Okay, and then refer. What are the results of those reviews and those surveys that you gave them? Have your referral sources made partner introductions? That's an important thing to know. And what are you doing about community building? So when you're out there in the community, are people referring to you because they are introducing you to other folks that may be able to refer to you as well? Are you doing community building activities like Alzheimer's Walk this fall, going to senior fairs, sponsoring events? Are you out there doing that stuff? So you need for folks to know you, like you, and trust you, and then they need to try your services. They continue to buy your services. They may repeatedly buy services or other products and services from you. And if they're referring to you as well, then that is everything that you would need to make sure these leads are coming in over and over and over again. So we've talked about the hourglass. It's a little complicated, but if you don't treat people just like a funnel where they're going in the top and just dripping out the bottom one at a time, if you treat them the best way possible through the entire process, you'll have a much better lead experience. And it's a long experience, but a lot of times it takes a long time for a home care lead to close. So let's talk about content. Your content and publishing efforts must be focused on achieving two things: building trust and educating. We talk about content all the time, and it's still true, and it's going to be true for years to come, that people want to see educational, valuable, engaging content when they're on your website. So let's talk a little bit about that. Okay, content that builds trust, and this is just a sample of a blog on one of our websites. So blogs are the absolute starting point for a content strategy because they make content production and syndication and sharing so easy. The search engines love blog content, and the fact that blogs allow one to produce and organize a great deal of editorial thinking is important. So I'm going to guess that most of you listening to this do not have time to write 4 blog posts a month or don't even know how to begin to do that. But it's important that even if you don't know how to do it or you don't have time to do it, that you make sure somebody in your organization or you hire someone else to take care of it. Content produced on a blog can be expanded and adapted into content for articles, workshops, ebooks. It becomes very valuable. You have to have fresh, unique content on your website all the time. Social media. Of course, you all know social media, or you should know by now, social media is super important. The first step in the social media content game is to claim all the free opportunities to create social media profiles on sites like LinkedIn and Facebook. You should have LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, any of the free ones. But the two that are the most important for home care are LinkedIn and Facebook. Remember that. LinkedIn and Facebook are your two most important accounts. Building rich profiles and optimizing your links, your images, and videos are really important. So this is a screenshot of Alzheimer's Care Daily. You can see there are over 10,000 fans on this page. Now we run a national website called alzheimersdaily.com. Anybody can post a unique educational article on that site. So if you're a person who wants to do that, you can. Now, all of our clients post articles on that website, and every single article goes to Facebook, and it shows up right here. So there are over 10,000 fans. The website gets a lot of traffic. So if you are someone who wants to have a presence in not just on your own website, but on other websites, this is a great opportunity for you. But it has to be unique. The other piece of this is reviews. So you want to make sure you have reviews and testimonials that really make a difference. So we talk about Google+, My Business, and Yelp. I'm not a big fan of those review services because if one person, like a disgruntled employee or someone who is just not a satisfiable customer, leaves you a bad review, then you're kind of sunk as a home care agency. Like a great steakhouse in, say, Chicago will get thousands of reviews. So if they get 2 or 3 bad ones, there's 999 other ones that'll cover that up. So they can stand to get a couple of bad reviews. However, in home care, you'll be lucky over the lifetime of your business to have 100 reviews, maybe 60 reviews. And if that's the case, you have to make sure that every single one of those is really good. So ratings and review sites are really important. Senior Service Reviews is one that we developed, and we keep all of our clients on it when they want to be there. All of the reviews that are posted on Senior Service Reviews are only made live when they are approved by an admin. So if they're a 4-star or 5-star review, they are approved. Anything 3 stars and under, we consider that a customer service issue, and it is between the home care agency and that customer or that employee to take care of that issue behind the scenes. It's not something that's meant to be put out there all over social media. So those are the kind of review systems you want to use, ones that you can control and ones that you can monitor. It's really hard to do that on Google+ My Business, and it's hard to do that on Yelp because once a bad review goes up there, there's really nothing you can do about it. But every time you gather up reviews and testimonials, you need to make sure they're out there. They're on your Facebook page. They start out on your website. If you don't have a seniorservicereviews.com type system, make sure people get to see them. Okay, so total web presence. The web and digital interactivity now represent the center of the marketing universe. So I just want to review a little bit about something that I talk about a lot is online to offline. So you want to make sure that everything you do offline goes on your online messaging, on your online content. So people who find you online, like by your website, are driven to engage with you offline by calling you on the phone. Offline events should be promoted online. So if you are going to that senior fair, that Alzheimer's walk, you need to make sure that information is on your blog. Offline referral partners should be engaged online. So if you are if you have business cards, look those people up on LinkedIn. See if they're there. If they are, you need to engage with them. Make sure everybody you meet offline, you also have a connection with them online. And that goes the other way too. If you meet somebody on LinkedIn that you've been really trying to get a hold of or get in to talk to, make sure you ask them if they'd be willing to meet you for a cup of coffee or something like that, and get to meet them offline as well. Online connections should be encouraged to meet offline, so for coffee, lunch, whatever you can do. So it used to be that offline advertising, like radio and TV, was used primarily to create a sale or enhance an image, but now Every time you see or hear a radio ad or you see a TV ad, it's used to create awareness about web content. So they'll say, visit us at www.blah-blah-blah-blah.com. It's always there in every commercial. SEO, search engine optimization, was primarily a function of optimizing a website. Now it's a function of optimizing your brand assets across social media. So your logos, your messaging, all that stuff needs to be consistent everywhere. Lead generation used to consist of broadcasting messages like on the radio and TV, but now we rely heavily on being found in the right place at the right time. So you have to be everywhere online. Lead conversion is often consisted of multiple sales calls to supply information, but now it's to supplement web information. And referrals used to be a simple matter of passing a name along, but now we rely heavily on an organization's online reputation, reviews, and ratings. And you all don't need a physical store as much. It has always mattered where you are located, though. And now the online location for the local business has become a life and death matter. You absolutely have to have an office, or you have to have a virtual office. You have to have an address in the area that you are wanting to service, because people want to know that their caregivers are local to them. They're not coming from 100 miles away or 50 miles away. They are coming from right there in their local area. So if you are still looking at marketing efforts in a linear way, meaning you're doing all of your engagements, your direct referrals, you're shaking hands, looking people in the eye, you're doing all that over here, and then down the road you're doing your online stuff, you need to change that thought process a little bit. Your website should be the hub for everything. So everything you do, online and offline, should start with your website, and then it should go out to all this other stuff. So if you are going to be at a senior fair next week, you should put a blog post up about that on your website. That should go out to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you are at that senior fair, you can take pictures and post them when you get back from the senior fair about what a great time you had. If you're going to a networking event, take pictures of the person who put together that networking event, post that online. Everything you do that's business can be put online to enhance and evolve your online presence. It really does make sense. So understand this for lead generation. Your online presence is the hub of education, and that online and offline advertising, PR, and referral systems must utilize your web presence to its fullest potential. In 2015, everyone pretty much has a smartphone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop. Somebody out there is looking for services online, and they're looking for a solution to their elder care problem. You have to have an excellent presence to do that. So here's my little picture that I like to share. This is a picture of candles along kind of a dark path. So this is kind of how I want you all to think. At the end of that dark path is a home care agency. So one can think of it as lighting candles along dark paths so that weary travelers can discover your home care agency in the dark. Those candles are the education-based entries in social media hubs like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. They're gentle guides of introduction. So each one of these candles represents a blog post or a tweet or a Facebook that somebody saw as they were looking for a solution to their elder care problem. They are the PR efforts, the blog posts and articles written to illuminate one's expertise. They are the blog posts designed to attract surfers looking for the way. They are the strategic partnerships, alignments that evoke trust. They are the phone conversations, providing interactive discussion with customers and prospects. These are the phone calls that come in. They are the community building events like the Alzheimer's Walk, the senior fairs, places where candles can be relit and shared. And so what that tells you is that at the end of this walk, all these little touch points, all these little lights lead to you, to your home care agency. So the more of these little lights that you have out there, these little pieces of communication, these blog posts, these pages, these websites, the more you have and the better job you do with them, the faster people will find the solution to their problem, and that would be you. Okay, so one more thing I want to say about this is to live by the calendar. So it's really hard to decide that you're going to go down this path of lead generation. You're going to use your website. You know who your target audience is because you've looked at your current client base. You know who's making you the most money. You know who your greatest referral sources are. You know all of that stuff. You've come all the way through here. And now you have to make sure you're putting content on your website, you have testimonials and reviews, and that you're putting out an e-newsletter. So Aristotle has a quote. It says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit." So my version is, we are what we repeatedly do. Marketing, then, is not an act, but a habit. So if you get in the habit of making sure you're writing down what you're doing, you're putting it on your website, then you will reap the benefits of that because you will be highly, highly, highly visible online. So I'm going to kind of recap a couple things about lead generation, and I'm going to use some of George's slides because he does a really good job of explaining this. The top 2 sales channels, the top 2 lead generators, or places to get leads for home care agencies are direct referral marketing, which is your in-person marketing offline, and your organic Google search. This is all your online marketing that you need to be doing. Your top marketing goals should be to have a high ranking on Google, meaning that if somebody types in home care St. Louis, Missouri, or home care Los Angeles, California, that you are on the first page of Google. You should have strong referral partners in your community. You can never replace that. That is always going to be true. You must have strong referral partners. And you have to have strong community engagement. And that doesn't mean just in person. So that Alzheimer's walk and the senior fairs and all the things that you do, they also need to be online. Your community is online. They are on Facebook, and you need to reach out to them. So your key messages, all the key messages that you come up with, the ones that your clients help you with, the people that you want to service, they need to know that you're an authority on senior care, that you're a trusted and quality provider, that you're a great marketing partner, and that you're a great community resource. They need to know that about you, and you have to put that online. All your trust that you want to build up can be done through articles, content, e-newsletters, answering the phone. All of that stuff needs to start with your website. So here are some of the must-haves that we talk about. First of all, you need to have local SEO done by town or city, not by county, on your website. So if you have a website, take a look at it. All the search engine optimization should be done by town or city, and you can do multiple towns and cities, not just one. You need to have continuous original local content. That means you need to have articles that are written for you, that are unique to you, that are only on your website and not on 300 other websites. So if you're a franchise owner, this really is for you too. You have to understand that all that content that corporate provides is great, but it's not original to you. It has already been indexed on another website, and therefore it is duplicate content on your website. You need to have local original content, and it needs to be continuous. You need offsite publishing. I talked a little bit about Alzheimer's Care Daily. That is a place where you can place an article and it links right back to your website. You need a local blog with a feed. So what in our case, we develop WordPress websites. They all have a feed. They all have a blog as part of them, and they get continuous local original content unique to that client every single week. You need local social media, so you need your own Facebook business page. You need to have your own LinkedIn account. You need to have your own Twitter. You need to have all those things, no matter who sets them up for you, you need to have all that stuff. And every time you blog post to your blog, you put a new article up, it should go straight out to all of those social media accounts. You need a local e-newsletter. You need to make sure it's not just a corporate newsletter, but it's one that has content about you, about your local area, that says the names of the towns in your area, that really resonates with the people that are local to you. And you need to have reputation management. Those are all the testimonials and reviews that we talked about. You definitely need to make sure that you have something like senior service reviews in place. Success factor number 1 is your website. It should be a professional image of you. People say don't judge a book by its cover, but we all do it, and your clients and your potential prospects are doing that as well. When they see your website, they want to see that it's neatly and professionally done, and that it's 2015 up to date and not like a 1999, done by Cousin Pete or something like that. Lead capture design, you want to make sure that it has a phone number and forms that people can fill out. Locally search engine optimized, meaning that all the pages in every single blog post has the names of all the towns and the services and all that done correctly without over-optimizing. It needs to be mobile responsive. That means when you look at it on a cell phone or on a smartphone or on a tablet or an iPad, the website moves in such a way that it stacks up and is easy to read and understand. You need to have clear calls to action, meaning you have to have the phone number, tell people what to do because they're often overwhelmed. Fill out this form, pick up the phone and make a call. Integrated content distribution. That means that your blog posts, your articles need to go out to all your social media. And you really should have a tracked phone line. And the reason we do that and we say that is because that every time a phone call comes in from your website, you should be tracking who it is. Is it a lead? Is it a referral? Is it an employment call? When you can track what that phone call is about, then you know what your return on investment is. Okay, success factor number 2, your SEO keyword plan. So this is a chart that George put together. These are the cities and towns that someone might service along with some of the keyword phrases that they might want to make sure they show up for on the first page of Google. So we prioritize the cities and towns by geography, so the most important town to you, and we ask you for 10 towns. So 10 towns total, the most important down to the least important. And then we prioritize those by keyword phrase. And then we use this matrix to search engine optimize the core of your website, meaning those pages that are static that never change. But every single week we use this matrix to blog posts for you so that we're including all these keyword phrases, we're picking 1 or 2 each week, and we're getting your website continuously and up-to-date and uniquely search engine optimized for your local area. That's a big task, and we do that every week. We probably have somewhere around 800 or 900 blog posts or articles written every single month to distribute to our clients. They are all unique to one another. Success factor number 3 is continuous content publishing. So one of the things we keep talking about is reaching out to your community. So blog posting a minimum of once a week is really important. That content needs to be 100% unique. It cannot be copied off of another website. Minimum of 400 to 500 words, meaning that Google doesn't like to index just a picture in a one sentence. It really wants a story or some explanation of what it is that we're looking at. So in order to get that blog post indexed, it has to be 400 to 500 words. You need to optimize for the top keyword priorities as well as many lower volume keywords. So those are called long tail keyword phrases. You need to make sure that your blog posts are optimized for the big towns and the big keyword phrases like home care, senior care, but there's a whole litany of smaller long tail keyword phrases you also have to consider. You need to have those blog posts fed to your social media and to your monthly e-newsletter. You have to publish local company news, the people that matter to you, the events and the celebrations. All of that stuff needs to be on your website and then go out to your newsletter. And you can publish articles with your key referral partners. So let's say you're a home care agency and you decide to interview the local assisted living facility. We have a whole step-by-step thing that you can go through to get that interview, to get that appointment set up. Maybe it's someone you're having a hard time getting in with. And you can interview them about their facility. Now, they're not competing with you. They are a non-competitive senior care facility in your local area. So you can go interview them, do a blog post, do a write-up about them, and then show it to them and share it with your audience and tell your audience, here are other resources in our local area. If you can't do home care, you might consider assisted living. That's the stuff that builds trust. So success factor number 4 is engaging through social media. So Facebook is your community outreach. When you're on Facebook, you should be reaching out to your community. All of these things that we do out there should be on Facebook. LinkedIn is your professional to professional networking. So this is where you reach out to other professionals in your area that are healthcare related and make sure they know about your home care agency. The content is fed from your blog to your Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and to other social media accounts. You can boost important posts. So if you have a post that you really like and you want to boost it on Facebook for $5, you can do that, and you'll get a much broader audience seeing that post, even for just $5. So it really works well. You can invite everyone on your email list to like your page. Facebook paid ad, you can use Facebook paid ads to build your likes, and you can publish testimonials. So Facebook and LinkedIn are your two top social media accounts for leads and referrals. Success factor number 5 for leads is automated monthly e-newsletter. I can't tell you what an increase in communication and lead generation this causes. It's amazing. Every time it goes out, people are replying to it and saying, I should have called you a month ago. Mom fell and broke her hip. We're going to need home care in about 2 weeks. Are you guys available? Those things happen and those conversations happen all the time. So your newsletter, in the case where we do it, it's automated. The feed, all of your little blog posts that are on your website are put in excerpt form. They're put on your newsletter, and build the best email list in your territory. So all of your prospects, all of your potential referral partners, all of your clients that have email addresses, you should be putting those on your email newsletter list. Publish quality info regularly. They should be engaging articles, some of your company news, employee celebrations, testimonials, client stories, and of course we talked about the referral partners. So that way, every time your newsletter goes out, which is 1 time per month, it keeps you on top of that person's mind, and it builds engagement. Communication goes up tremendously. Success factor number 6 is authority, offsite publishing, and backlinking. So you need to build authority through publishing on other sites. So here's a snapshot of some of our other sites. These are all national websites. Every single one of our clients has an article on these websites. So not only does it show that they are experts in their field and passionate about what they do, but it also gives them some valuable inbound links. So we're giving them links back to their website because the article is by them. So in their bio, they have a link back to their website. You can use articles as leave-behinds and follow-ups. So for hospital, reducereadmissionrates.com, if you have an article on there and you're talking to a rehab, Medicare certified, or a physician's office, wouldn't it be nice to be able to leave that article behind that you just wrote? Or if you're talking to someone who has a mother with memory loss issues, and maybe you're emailing back and forth to them, what if you just, in that email, when you're emailing back and forth, you're identifying with them and hoping that they can choose you as a solution to their elder care issue. But here's a recent article we just wrote on Alzheimer's Care Daily. You might want to read it. It might help you with some of your elder care issues. It might help you know better how to care for mom when it comes to bathing or safety. So those are the things that really make a difference. They give you that little bit of edge when you're marketing to your local community and to your referral sources. Success factor number 7 is your testimonials, and this is super important. So this is a snapshot of what senior service reviews looks like. You can see all the testimonials there. Build trust with reputation management. High volume of positive testimonials is important. Eliminating negative reviews is important. Searchable in your key town. So each review that goes up is actually a blog post, so it can be searched. Third-party site. This is not your website, but it is a website that you get. We make this for you, and it is your review site. So it's a third-party site for credibility. These are distributed to Facebook as long as they are approved. The format is accepted by Google, so behind-the-scenes coding of senior service reviews is coded in such a way that Google recognizes it as a valid review site. So when you look at your Google My Business page after a while, you will see that Senior Service Reviews shows up there as a place where people can get more information about you. And you can distribute these to your prospects. You can send them to your Senior Service Review site or to your web page off of your website that has all your reviews on them. And they can see all of these themselves. So that also helps. Okay, so here is the formula for lead generation. This includes your in-person networking. So you have to remember that everything you do out in the field should be translated into your online marketing. So you have your website or your blog. You have all of your blog articles for search engine optimization, plus your company news, which is all that stuff you've been doing out in the community. That all goes out to your e-newsletter. It goes out to your social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, and Twitter. And also your reputation management goes straight to your website. And your reputation management there at the bottom, the senior service reviews, also goes out to your Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, and Twitter. Your e-newsletter is distributed to all of your referral sources and your consumers in your local areas. And then over on the right-hand side, you see LTCEP authority articles. So these are our authority sites. They are national. They are online. You can look them up. All of those articles serve as inbound links to your website or blog. And every time you write an article on one of those, or we write it for you, it also goes out to all of your social media. So if you look at this, it's kind of a big figure eight, but everything works together. Everything you do in the offline world, every time you shake a hand and look somebody in the eye, every time you do that, if you put those big events into company news, it's distributed in such a way that everybody in your local community can see the passion you have for this business and the communication. And that's super important. Search engine optimization management, tracking, and reporting. Now, at LTC Expert Publications, this is something that we do every single month. I don't know what you currently experience, but if you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a whole matrix of keyword phrases. We are measuring them to see where they land on the first page of Google. Now, we've blanked out who this is, but you can see that for Senior Care Newport Beach, that person, that's the first keyword phrase listed, they are number 3 on the first page of Google. For Elder Care Newport Beach, they are number 3 on the first page of Google. So it's really important that you have a report like this come to you every single month so that you can see what those results are of all of that blog posting, of all of that content, of all of that stuff that helps you with lead generation. You should have a keyword plan for your local territory, which is something that we do. You should have tracked phone lines, which is something I just talked about. You should have social media publishing reports, so you should be able to see what's been going on your social media. You should be engaging with it anyway, but you can see that. You should be getting monthly performance reports. We do that for all of our clients. You should have active search engine optimization management, meaning that every blog post, every week, every time are all search engine optimized for your local area. And then you should have SEO performance consultations. So when you want somebody to go over a report with you and show you how well your blog posting is working and how well that community outreach is working for you, you should be able to pick up the phone and say, I'd love an appointment, or type an email up and send it to someone to get an appointment to go over your reporting with you. And we do that every single month for our clients if they want. So those are all the factors that go into lead generation. It's not easy. It does take a while. But if you have a team on your side that provides everything we just talked about, then your battle is so much easier, and you can dominate your local marketplace, and you can win all the leads, and you can make sure that your website stands out and your messaging stands out better than the competitors. So everything we do, all of it, that I just talked about on this webinar is right here in front of you. We take care of everything for our clients. So we have a couple of different ways we do that. If you own your own website and you don't need a website, that's okay. We don't have to build your website if we can work with it. For those kind of folks, usually they get everything I just talked about. The setup fee is $9.95 and the monthly fee is $495 a month. But if we build your website, meaning we take the responsibility for building it, we do that with you, and then we start blog posting and doing all the things I just talked about all the time. That's $2,895 for the setup fee, and then $600 a month because we are hosting, maintaining, checking for malware, and doing so much more. So there are 2 different programs that we offer, Plan A and Plan B. Now both of those require a 6-month commitment because it takes about 6 months to make all of that happen for you. Whether you're a brand new website or you have an older one but you've never really reached the first page of Google, it's going to take 6 months. to get you where you want to be and get you that visibility. But what we know is that sometimes folks have a little hard time with our setup fees because it's just not something that they can afford at the moment. So George put together a limited time special offer that's available till September 10th. That's coming up really fast. You'll have like 14 days, I think. You can pay one flat fee instead of the setup fee. So program A, meaning you already have a website and we do not need to build a website for you. If you sign a one-year contract with us, we'll do just a flat fee of $495 per month, and we essentially waive that setup fee. For program B, if you do need a full website, that means custom built, full website, flat fee of $799 per month. But that does also require a one-year participation. Now, on program B, after you've been with us for a year, your monthly fee reduces to $600 per month. So there are two different programs. We're willing to waive that setup fee, which we have never done, and I can't even believe George is doing it, but we will do that until September 10th. This is kind of a test for us to see if that goes over better than the setup fee and the lower monthly. So we will do program A or program B for you if you wanted it, if you wanted everything I just talked about. All of that is so important for lead generation. I am going to ask George if he has anything else to add, and then we are going to take questions. George, what did I miss?
Well, it's important to know that Program A is the fundamental program that we offer and deal with franchise brands. And there's many franchise brands that now have websites with local publishing that can benefit substantially from what we call Program A, where you have a website. So that's what Program A is for independents that have a well-developed WordPress website with the capabilities we need for publishing, and franchise groups where the brands have given their local offices the kind of local publishing they need. That's the only thing I wanted to emphasize there in those two programs.
Right. It is true that for franchise owners, for folks that that do not need a website, that this is really important. But I do have a couple questions for George or for me or for whoever wants to answer it. We can, either one of us. Is it possible these days to reach page 1 of Google, and how about Google Places, which actually is the same thing at this point? So the question is it possible to reach page 1 of Google? And the answer is absolutely. If you do all the things we just talked about with all the content and all the community outreach and have all the social media set up so you have all the backlinks and all that stuff, absolutely you can reach the first page of Google. People do it every day. It's just, it takes a long time. It's not overnight.
The important thing to know there is once you've reached it, the reason why you want to do investment, it's hard to get moved off of it. You know, it's a zero-sum game, so you're taking somebody off of the first page when you're going on there. That means you're doing a better job at publishing than they are. But what's also important is while you're doing a better job at publishing, if you're doing it in the style we talk about, then you're also doing a better job at referral marketing. So you're getting a twofer in this situation. If you do the right job, both your referral marketing will increase, and that helps you get, by engagement, your Google ranking to go up faster, because engagement is a big part of that. Google has to see that people are reading your articles, not just Google reading it themselves and no humans reading it. They can tell.
Absolutely. And another question is, do we get, so in other words, this person is asking, if we were a client of yours, do we get to review the articles before they are posted? And the answer is that we can do it one of two ways. We can post the articles for you, let them go out to social media. We have professionally written articles done every single day, so we're used to it and we know what works. If you prefer to read it first yourself, which I think is a bit of a cumbersome process, but if that is something you really want to do, we will put it in a draft mode for you on your website, and then we will send you a note through support to let you know that there's something there waiting for approval. And then it would be up to you to go in and approve it and make it live on the internet. So we can do it either way. We prefer to just go ahead and publish for you, but if you want to look at it first, you can. Next question is, how many backlinks does Google for SEO? Are 4 enough? Do you guys do other backlinks in addition? Okay, backlinks come in the hundreds and thousands. 4 backlinks from 4 different websites is not nearly enough to get you to the first page of Google. You need hundreds of backlinks. And the only way to do that is to make sure your social media is set up correctly, is to make sure that you have engaging content that other people might pick up. There are a lot of things that go into backlinks. We provide a jump start and a I guess a leaping off point so that you get a good set of backlinks and all kinds of stuff going. But over time, you need to build up more and more backlinks. Let's see, would you guys optimize our videos for YouTube? We will optimize the text that goes along with the video if you want us to post it to YouTube for you, but we don't do any kind of video editing, just so you know. But we will absolutely put the text in the description of the video out there for you so that you have an optimized title and description. Someone said they will contact us later. Can you still do website maintenance even though I have a website already? We do not do maintenance on websites that were built by someone else. We will make text changes to the blogs. We will do things like that. But if you have a web designer checks, if you want us to do it, then we need to build your website. So there's 2 different pieces to that program. It's hard for us to maintain a website that we didn't build because we don't know all the nuances and the technical stuff behind the scenes. Someone asked, George, can you pick services a la carte?
We used to sell bits and pieces of what a publishing program is, but over the 6 years, we've been redesigning our programs. We found it's the integration of these programs that are the value. So if you have a blog and you're not sending it to a newsletter that's working correctly or social media that's working correctly, you're not getting the value. So we've decided, and we've eliminated a lot of extra stuff from our programs and got it to the fundamentals that we think a small business selling into local communities and towns should have to sustain. So we don't pull them apart and just offer one a la carte kind of things because it really doesn't have the value of, any close to the value of an integrated solution.
I totally agree. Do you do the SEM buys for clients? If so, costs to do. So I don't know exactly what you mean by SEM buys, but if you mean do we do AdWords or things like that, that is something that we don't do, but we can certainly refer you on if you want. We do all of the social media. We do all of the organic stuff. Everything that's organic that comes with a good marketing program. And believe me, we have looked at every single model of AdWords for the home care industry, and I cannot tell you that I believe there is one that makes a whole lot of sense. If you have the budget to do Google AdWords and you're willing to spend $1,000 a month, let's say, and you're willing to know that $800 of that is going to go to employment seekers and $200 of that is going to go to people who actually need your services. So 80% gone, whisked in the wind. 20% of it is going to go to, people who actually need your services. If you're willing to chuck the $800 to get the other folks in there and you have that kind of budget, then that's awesome because that might work. But it's really, really rough for home care agencies and Google AdWords. We're not big fans of it because we know the organic way works. It just takes some patience and hard work. Do you have a way to limit caregiver inquiries versus actual potential client inquiries? Yes, we do. When we build a website, we have 2 different forms, actually 3 different forms on the website. One is a lead gen form. So we call it a lead gen form because it's a long form. It's one that folks fill out. It kind of is a conditionally formatted. So if they answer that they're, they have to say, who's the care for? Is it male, female? And the form gets longer as they go. That works really well for true lead generation. It's obviously not one that any caregiver would fill out because it asks nothing. It's not a generic form. We do have a generic contact us form for folks who want to contact you for other reasons. And then we do have what's called a pre-screening form. This is not an employment application, but it's a caregiver pre-screening form. Not everybody wants one, but we do put it on most of our sites. and it just helps you weed out the caregivers that you really want to interview versus those who are not going to fit your needs. So we have 3 different forms. One is a true lead generation form on your site. That's where we would direct all the consumers, and then we have a careers page which has that other style form that's for the caregivers. So that helps quite a bit. And when you're doing organic marketing versus AdWords, AdWords is always going to lead to 80 to 90% of your inquiries are going to be employment. But when you're doing organic, content-driven, community outreach stuff, you're going to get more of those consumers. Okay, so how do you find other sites to publish your blogs and articles on? How do you get them to publish your articles? Well, Dana, we actually do that for our clients. We have those sites already, so we have plenty of opportunities to get that done. It's hard to find places. You have to do a lot of asking and spend a lot of time on that. So we develop those sites, those national authority sites like Alzheimer's Care Daily, so that our clients could reap the benefits of those. If my business is located in a town where I don't generally get any business due to demographics, then Google Places would not make any sense for me. Is this accurate? Frank, yes. If you have an office location in Brick, New Jersey, but you want to service Mount Laurel, New Jersey, then you need to make sure that your blog is covering all the towns that are important to you. You're not going to be able to have a Google Places My Business page in Mount Laurel unless you have a physical office there or a virtual office with a real address and a real place to walk into, not a P.O. box, not a UPS address. So it is possible, though, to optimize your website for any town that you want to service, regardless of Google My Business. But your Google My Business listing is always going to, obviously show up in the town you actually reside in as a business.
That's the reason people buy our services, is because they have, they're only going to get a Google, a My Business listing value in the office with the town where their office is. They have to do broad-based, locally town-optimized blogging to be able to reach those other towns. That's their only mechanism to really be an important company in Google's eyes in those other towns.
Yep. Okay, so this is a great question. And this is one that no one should ever answer for you. If they do, they're lying. After 6 months of Program B, how many leads on average, and what is a typical conversion rate from the leads generated per month? Renee, if anyone tells you that you're going to generate 10 leads a month or 20 leads per month after 6 months, and the conversion rate's going to be 90%, or 10%, they're telling you a fib, because there's so many things that depend on you and your local community and the competitiveness of your market. So if you're located in the heart of Chicago, Illinois versus Sarasota, Florida versus Washington, D.C. versus West Winnemucca, Nevada, then the answer would be completely different for all of those places. So where you are is really important, and I'll let George put some thoughts in here too. Where you are is really important.
The Internet's no longer something you just buy from somebody. Right. I'll give you X amount of dollars per month. Please generate X amount of leads for me. You can buy sales leads, and you can do pay-per-click for instant gratification. They're the 2 highest, cost channels that exist because they've been dominated by intermediaries who bid up the prices. So organic marketing, the question is, what's going to make you successful? Our most successful clients, we have 120 home care agencies we're servicing in the home care market, and our most successful clients have a very large and valuable email list of all the people that interface to seniors in different ways. They are doing referral marketing and building close relationships with their referral partners, so when the newsletters get out, they get engagement. So the answer to the question isn't really what numbers we're going to give you. The question is, we have similar clients in similar kinds of territories, some very engaged, some very little engaged, and some in the in the middle, and they all do differently. But the most high performance clients, the ones that are doing the best, are thoroughly engaged and connected referral marketing with online marketing together because they leverage each other now. Since you need engagement to do a great job at ranking, you got to reach out to the community and to other people that know you so they'll read your content. So it's kind of a misleading thing. The world used to be driven by pay-per-click, and you used to say, well, I'll spend so much money on clicks, and that'll turn into so many conversions on your website, and that would turn into so many clients. But since pay-per-click is so expensive and has bid, I think there's probably no more than 3 to 5 of our 120 clients that are doing any pay-per-click, and the same number doing any purchasing of sales leads. Everybody has gone to referral marketing and organic marketing and tying them together as tightly as possible to dominate organically a territory. And so, but the downside is it's very hard to measure, because did that lead come from referral marketing that caused somebody to go to my website that got my rank up, or did my article I published get my rank up and cause me to get that person? You can ask those questions, but there aren't any very definitive answers. It's all of the above.
Right. There are things we can measure, and there are things that we will measure and we will report to you. But at the end of the day, there are so many things that matter with your location and how much you actually participate that there's no way we can give you a definition of that. But the good news is that we do everything for you. We still expect you to engage, but all that hard part, all that stuff that needs to happen every single week without fail happens. But we definitely encourage clients to engage. You have to engage. You have to be present in your online marketing, no matter what. Okay, the end screen of what we get for the $4.95 went by too quickly. Did it include the reputation management? Yes.
Yes, it did.
It does. Yes.
All of our clients are typically now in our reputation management system.
How do you keep the articles or blogs you write unique to each website you support? We have all of our blog posts written specifically to be unique to each client every single week. We measure them through Copyscape. We have probably 50 writers, and we measure them via something called Copyscape. You can take an article, run it through Copyscape. It'll tell you if it's a duplicate of another article on the internet. We expect 75 to 100% uniqueness. The reason why I say 75 to 100 is I used to say 100 all the time. But if someone uses a quote or a definition of Alzheimer's disease, for instance, or something like that, then that is going to be duplicated elsewhere. But it's okay as long as it's just a small portion of that article. 100% uniqueness is what we like to see, and that's what we go for.
We enforce that rigorously with our writers. If a writer of ours copies something, they're gone.
Right. If we find out they're copying content, then we dismiss them immediately. Next question is, so we need to provide content for the newsletter for what we are doing locally. Sherry, yes, Sherry, for your local business, we can't possibly know all the things and activities that you're doing out there. So you need to write up a blip for us, send it to us, and we'll post it on your website for you. We do all the posting, we do all the technical stuff, but when it comes to the things that you're doing in your local community, we just can't read your mind. So we do need you to submit that to us, but we will help you. Can we submit extra content for you to optimize and publish? Yes, you can. What is your opinion of Google AdWords? We have considerable amount of budget going to this, as I have been told that Google is truly and ultimately something. So, Frank, we don't do Google AdWords. We have a very low opinion of AdWords for home care. I believe it's a waste of your money, and unless you are desperate for caregivers, it's really not a good, valuable piece of your time.
Well, another way to look at it is just look at your own numbers. If you are doing it, then measure your return on investment. How much does it cost for every lead and every sale, final sale? Most of the time I talk to people who are doing pay-per-click with a large number of dollars for a long period of time could not answer that question for me. They didn't know. They never really drilled down to find out what is the return on investment for the dollars spent. So if you do that and you can get clients that are profitable based on the cost to acquisition cost, then it's a great thing. You might have found one of the best PPC analysts in the country, and I would keep it a secret and hold on to them and keep doing it. But we found that most of the time it fails.
Right. Okay, let's see here. Will you help creating blogging content? Denise, we write every single article except for the company news that we want you to provide, and that's, as often as you can get it to us. How do you differentiate your keywords against the Medicare home health keywords, because we are competing against the same space? Yes, Conrad, we do use home health care and some of our keyword phrasing. We know that most of our clients are private duty, but we also understand the home care market because this is all we do. So we know that your consumers and your potential prospects don't know the difference between home health care and private duty home care. And so yes, we incorporate those keywords into our marketing online. What is the resource commitment and typical job skills of the person needed to support a Program B option, i.e. hours per week, a millennial? So
that's the client's amount of time the client needs to spend?
Yes. So for Program B with a full website, $7.99 per month, how much time do you think a client really needs to spend with us per week?
My guess would be, first of all, you need to integrate this stuff into the work you're doing. I get a kick out of it when somebody goes to a senior fair, spends all the time to prepare, brings the table, brings gifts, but doesn't have the 20 minutes to write up the couple of paragraphs of what took place there. So part of this is making sure your people who work in your company know it's important to collect emails from everybody you meet. That shouldn't take extra time. That should be how they operate when they go out and do referral marketing. If you're going to do events, so I would say 2 hours a month to make sure the company news is collected in a fashion, and somebody has the job to, put it into a couple of paragraphs and pass it to us.
And so I would say if you really had to narrow it down to a number, max of 2 hours a week would be max. I mean, it might be 20 minutes, like George said, but a maximum week would be probably 2 hours, would be my guess. 2 questions. What is the engagement support update? I'm not sure what that means. Also, if we sign a yearly contract, do you promise satisfaction? From Sunny. I think we promise that we'll do the very best job we can for you, but we expect in return that you will actually engage and do the very best you can to help support the program. Would that be accurate, George?
Our commitment is to deliver exactly what we say we're going to do. Nobody, we've always been thought of as a company that does what they say they're going to do. We can't guarantee results. Results is dependent on a whole bunch of things that are beyond our control. But we view we have the best path and a well-designed path and a cost-effective path to be successful in organic marketing for a home care agency, better than what we've seen other people do. And we're very open, and people see our stuff. We get told a lot of times when I ask, oh, what are you doing for SEO now? People are paying money and they can't answer that question. Well, all of our stuff is visible. When we publish articles, it's visible. When we publish newsletters, it's visible. When we write articles on our own sites or publish testimonials, everything is highly visible. So you'll know what's getting done, but we can't guarantee the result.
Okay, that's absolutely right. Do you still offer content creation as a separate product? So do we sell blog posts?
Is that for me?
Yeah,
yes.
I guess it depends on the volume.
If someone has a special need for content, it's on a, we have to examine what it is that somebody wants. And if we can do it, we'll consider it. But it's a special request. The 2 programs you see, half of our clients are in Program A with their own website, and about half of our clients, we're managing the websites. That's our true business. That's what we're good at. That's what we're optimized to deliver. And so the other things we do, we look at and examine and say, if we can do a good job at it, we'll do it. So we have to examine what your content request is.
Okay, how does it work if we are in the same local market as one of your current clients, George?
We think that's a good thing. In places where we have multiple clients and there aren't too many, our clients are on the first page of Google. You can look at some major cities and you'll see that. But the idea is this. One is we don't write exclusives because it's too expensive for us and for you, the client. Nobody can afford to say, I want to buy a state or a city or whatever. But what we do guarantee is that we're not going to saturate an area with so many people that nobody can win. Because our program is unique to every client, we don't suffer from the problem of having people compete with each other. They compete with themselves to do a good job in participating in our program, and those that do a good job do much, much better.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so let's see here. What else do I have? Let's see. Do you have a recording of the webinar? Yes, we will be sending out the recording, no problem. Do you do Facebook ads for target marketing? Yes, we will help you set up the Facebook ads. You have to pay for the clicks. Will you create an effective, will you help create an effective newsletter? Denise, we do everything. You can see my screen here. We take care of all of that, including your newsletter. We develop it for you. The next person says, so let me understand, if we already have a professionally developed website, your service cannot link our content to our website unless we pay you to do over our website? Not necessarily true, Regina. If you have a professionally developed website and we can blog post on it, and it has an RSS feed, and we can get our content onto it, and it can be fed out to your social media and your newsletter, you do not need to rebuild your website. We will log into your website on the back side, and we will do the content for you. But we have to look at the website and make sure that we can manage that piece of it for you before we can give you a true straight answer. But if you have a website that you love, that you just had done, and it's WordPress or Joomla or one of those, and it's easy for us to blog post on it, we absolutely will do that. If you need to have a blog added to your website, you can ask your current web designer to add the blog, and then we will blog post for you. So there's a lot of workarounds there. You don't necessarily have to have your website redone, but we really need to know what your website is and have a conversation about it before we can tell you exactly for sure. But we do not want you to redo your website if you don't have to. Okay, Valerie and George, this is great. I look forward to working with you. Can we get a copy of this presentation? I don't send out the printed version of this, but I will upload it to SlideShare and you can view it there. What is the ROI of this investment for business justification? The return on investment is additional leads and revenue for your business, but it takes a lot of involvement and engagement and understanding of that it takes time and it's not overnight. I think we've answered that question quite a bit over the last few questions. Can you show the list of services again for program A and B? Thank you. Yes, it's on your screen now. How are the blog posts attributed? So Michael, you are the author of all the blogs on your own website. We set you up as an author. We make sure that the blog posts are posted in your name or whoever's name you choose from your organization. We will put them up there as the author. All the articles are ghostwritten. Will you be sending out the detailed breakdowns of the offers for further consideration? Frank, I will make sure that George sends that to you. And we will send that out only to folks that request it. Can you start with Program A and then move to Program B at a later date? George?
Well, sure. I mean, Program A implies that you have, for example, you might have a WordPress website now. It might be older, but you're not ready to upgrade it yet. What's good about using WordPress, it's going to be easy then to take all the articles that are published on your existing site, and later when you go to upgrade, you'll easily be able to move those articles onto a new WordPress website. So that's the easiest path. But sometimes if you have one of these proprietary software websites, that isn't as easy to move things around in and stuff, you might lose some of the articles that you initially invest in. So the short answer is yes. You definitely can upgrade.
Do you set up sitemaps on our websites? And I know I'm going to butcher your name. I'm sorry. UDAC. If we create the site, yes, we set up a sitemap. If it is a site that we are working with, we don't touch the internal workings of that except for SEO purposes and content. So you would have to ask your current web designer to set up sitemaps for you. Do you have an upfront one-time price, all-inclusive, monthly included for 1 year for Program B? So can somebody just write you one big check, George?
Always.
Yes, of course.
The answer is yes.
Yes, we can email that to you, Steve. We'll email you something about that, or we will email you and see if you want that pricing, Steve. Does the program work for Canadian agencies? And this is a question that we get a lot, and we do work with Canadian agencies, but you have to understand that our pricing is in US dollars. So when it translates over to the Canadian, when you convert it, it's a different, it costs you a different amount. We charge what we charge in US dollars, but the conversion rate
yeah, so you're going to get hit with an extra cost of the conversion rate, and you just have to understand that. And I would look up the current conversion rate for yourself and determine. But the program functionally works for Canada. The value add of our methodologies are the same.
Yep, it works in we do U.S. and Canada all the time. How do you handle security for WordPress? I had a friend who got hacked and their site was lost. John, we have a system called Security set up. We back up the websites every single night, and we have it tested for malware every single day, every 6 hours actually. So we have a system set up. If we build the site and we maintain it, then we take security very seriously. That doesn't mean that you'll never get hacked in your lifetime, but what that does mean is that we can effectively and very quickly fix that situation because we've been backing up the site and we have security in place for it. So it won't prevent every single. I mean, I don't think we've had a website get truly hacked in maybe maybe 6 years.
Tell people that WordPress websites will get hacked if you have a poor web support and they're not updating the software. And you got old plugins that have holes in them that hackers go through. We have a security team on retainer. We take full responsibility, whether it takes 1 hour or 10 hours to fix a website. It's included in our fee. We don't charge extra because we know that that's a big issue. When it happens very infrequently, but when it happens, it's a big expense. You can be assured we'll take responsibility if we're the ones that built and maintain the website.
What does setup phase work require on our part for option A? So for option A and for option B, actually both, that's a good question. We have what's called an information request form that you need to fill out. We set everybody up into a program called Basecamp. We take that information request form and we build your website, or we set up your program if we're not building the website based on that information request form. We may email you back and forth and ask you some questions. We may need to get on the phone to clarify a couple of things. But once you've filled that form out effectively and sent it to us, and you've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's on that form, then we can go to work. Let's see, Maxine says, is the website already up and, if the website is already up and running, is there any modification that can be done by LTCEP? So can we modify a website that is already up and running? My first answer is probably not, because we don't like to modify websites that we did not create. We really want your own web designer to do that, or whoever created your website to help you. If you don't have someone helping you and they've just disappeared off the face of the earth, which happens, then we'll take a look at it and we will let you know. But we are very cautious and very not in favor of messing around with something that we didn't design and build ourselves. But it doesn't mean we won't help. It just means that we have to take a look at it and let you know for sure. If you were to sign on 20 agencies in a year, how many of those 20 agencies are still with you after 2 years? All 20.
Well, we have people with us for 6 years, and over 6 years, probably about 5%. People stay with us sometimes 2 to 3 years, and the people who stay with us are the ones that tend to believe in the same fundamental methodology of marketing. By the way, that's how we market. We publish information like this webinar, and people come to us based on it. The same theory holds true for a home care agency. So if you believe in this method of marketing, then you're not going to find a better company or a better solution than what we've been building over the last 6 years. And so people tend to stay with us. But if you don't believe in this, if you think there's a quick and dirty way, like with pay-per-click or buying sales leads, or whatever the new shiny object in the SEO market is to buy, then some people leave. And of course, the people that leave are the ones that have missed that expectation. So you can see how honest we are. We talk about how long it takes to get ranking up when you're doing organic marketing, but how valuable it is. We also talk about, though, how you should, and we're just as happy when our clients get an increase in their referral marketing percentage performance from the same activities, but that might happen quicker. So the bulk of our clients are multi-year clients. We don't sign up people for it says on here that you need to do a minimum of 6 months, but you can't stop doing this all of a sudden after 6 months and maintain any kind of ranking with Google or engagement with the community. So people tend to stay with us.
Yep, they tend to. And, sometimes people have issues like they run out of money or they close their doors, and those are well beyond our control. So when people do drop out, it usually is, if it's quick, it's usually a very big financial issue on their end, or they've just simply run out of money, or they've decided to go out of business or whatever. And sometimes we try to make sure everybody understands the budget and the commitment and all that stuff, but sometimes things come up on people that are completely out of our control and they disappear. So it's few and far between, but that does happen. But I have to say, we have some clients that have been with us since the day we opened our doors, and that's really valuable to us. They're valuable to us. If you want to read all of our testimonials, you can go over to our website. You can just type in ltcep.com, and you can go to our website, our testimonials, and you can read all the kind words that people have left for us. And that's the best way, not only for us to show value, but for you to show value as a home care agency, is to have a good testimonial system in place. So that is actually the last question, George. Oh my goodness, okay. We're at an hour and a half. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. We hope that you learned some good stuff about lead generation in the real world here. And George, thank you for answering all these questions. Everyone appreciates it. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.